Listen to the Vibes, hosted by Coyote Night. Listen in for some positivity and good times. The views and opinions of our guests may not necessarily reflect those of the host or the Vibes broadcast network. Listener discretion is advised.
Well, hello everyone. Welcome to another episode of Listen to the Vibes. All the way from Canada, we have Kara Michelle, and she's got quite the story to tell. And I'm just going to leave it to her to tell her life story. It's like a superhero origin story, I guess you'd say.
Yeah,
How are
I
you?
like to think of it that way sometimes. Yeah, I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful.
So I'm so glad to be here. So thank you.
Thank you. So the
Yeah.
floor is yours.
Okay. Well, I guess to give a little intro for everyone listening, when I was, let's just say like about mm, 10 years ago, or 9 years ago, my brother passed away, and that was kind of the first big thing that happened in my life, and um, set me on my path. So I am now a holistic life coach, Reiki master. I'm big into meditation and mindfulness, and all of my kind of spiritual journey and personal healing journey started from losing my brother.
Mhm.
And a couple years after he passed, then I was also sexually assaulted. And then I had a really traumatic car accident. So those were kind of the three big things that set my life in motion, I guess, and really changed the trajectory of what I was doing.
Oh, I hear you. Well, having lost my little brother, he was 7 years younger than me. He was 22 at the time, so
Mm.
I was almost 30, but he had committed suicide, and it was very difficult for me to handle. I mean, did were you able to like catch that grip right away, or did it take a while? Because I know it took me years.
Yeah, yeah, and I'm so sorry to hear about your brother.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, for me, it definitely took some time for sure. And I think it's interesting with grief because you do always hear people say like it doesn't necessarily get better, it just gets different,
Mm,
right, as time goes by. So the first few years were really, really hard, and I would say for me, I think it was maybe like I definitely started looking for answers and trying to find healing and purpose and some kind of meaning to what had happened right away. But in terms of like actually taking more solid actions with like travel or with different programs and different kind of ways of learning and healing, that probably came about year three or year four after he passed.
okay. I know I used a lot of drugs and alcohol to kind of it wasn't even really coping. It was just to try to forget the day.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah, and I think it's I mean, you look at any kind of like substance use, really, I think it usually is like it is just kind of our coping mechanism of a way to try and get through what heaviness has gone on. And I know for me, like because my brother he had an allergic reaction to a prescription drug, so for me, I really like steer clear from a lot of things because of the nature of how he passed. But I think otherwise I would have definitely kind of turned to that to get through because it is so heavy to be working through the loss of someone you love, and you feel so alone.
well, you kind of prepare yourself for like when your parents pass away or your grandparents, and you expect them to go before you. But when it's a sibling, if you're like me, I thought we were going to be on the front porch rocking back and forth as old farts. And
Yeah.
not to have that has been devastating. So
Yeah.
So I guess your
Yeah.
family has kind of leaned on you a little bit since you've gone on this journey, huh?
Yeah, in a sense, I've kind of been able to bring some of the tools and the things that I've learned back, and we've all been grieving in our own ways, I guess, too, because of the different relationships we had to my brother and um, the different lifestyles we live. So for me, it definitely fueled like that desire to for more and like to find happiness and make the most out of my time here because it really felt like if life could end so quickly and we don't know when our time is up, like why aren't all of us just enjoying our lives? Why aren't we doing the things that we love instead of staying stuck in unhappy situations?
Exactly.
So that was definitely kind of how I handled it and yeah, what actions I took.
Well, it's taken me almost 50 years to finally decide what I really enjoy in this life, you know. So,
Hmm.
but it's never too late. That's
Yeah.
proof of that. Okay, now this is a little touchy subject, and I know I don't really talk a lot of people about what happened to me, but as a child I was molested, and
Okay.
that this is actually the first time I've actually come out and talked about it. But I know that can be very devastating, and it seems like it's never left me, even after 40 some odd years. Um, I'm just gonna let you tell your story.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's so sad how many people have been affected by something like that, right? And
Mm.
um the more I've kind of talked about my own experience with sexual assault, the more I realize that I really am not alone and um I think in some ways that vulnerability has kind of helped me to create more connections because yeah, that sadly that is a thing that a lot of us are connected by. Um, so for me, it was yeah in my university, and it was kind of still during my grieving process, and then to have that, I think for anyone who's a victim of sexual assault or yeah anything like that, it's that loss of control and it really makes you feel small and feel like you yeah I don't know how to word it even but um it really makes you feel powerless I guess because there's it doesn't feel like you're respected or you're heard or I know I had a lot of guilt and shame for a while too and felt like it was my fault somehow or that nobody would believe me and it's when you look at trauma and how we carry that in the body it really is such a heavy thing that so many people carry for years and years and it's just like it's always there, right?
Exactly. Well, and the thing is you'll see television shows or movies and things where it happens to someone, and everybody's like, "Why don't you just tell somebody?" But number one, you're embarrassed,
Hmm.
and number two, just like you said, you don't know if anybody's even going to believe what you say anyhow, and it's almost
Hmm.
like it's your fault that it happened, and you can't make people understand unless they've been through it.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I think that is why so many people suffer in silence after that because it's yeah, it's so hard to finally speak up or share it and um it's just such a strange situation that people get kind of stuck in and that victim that like that guilt that you have afterwards even though you like I know for me I logically knew that I didn't do anything wrong and yet still emotionally or something there was this feeling like oh but what if I did or yeah it's such a weird like catch 22.
Yeah, yeah, it is hard to explain. Um,
Mhm.
okay, so you've already gone and dealt with the death of your brother, and now you've gone on and you've been sexually assaulted, and then to top it off, it's like one thing after another.
Yeah.
As we say down here, when it rains, it pours. You get into a bad car wreck. So, I mean, when do you get to the point where you look up at the sky and say, "Hey, God, when are you going to give me a break?"
Yeah. I think I think I kind of did that after each of those times.
I hear
And
you.
I just kind of kept being like, what is going on here? And after the car accident, that was definitely the final straw where I just really felt like, okay, I mean, I hit black ice while driving across Canada, and that's how the accident happened. And I flipped and then I rolled 4 times, and like I was very fortunate to have like no physical injuries, like a little bit of whiplash, but um I just kind of thought, okay, the fact that I'm still here, like to me, there's got to be something more than this, and like it can't just be this victim story forever. It can't just be more and more struggles forever. There has to be a reason these things keep happening. And I think that was the time where I kind of went like, God, universe, angels, whatever's out there, like someone, please guide me and help me, find my way through this, because I don't want to be carrying the weight of this forever. And
Exactly.
but I don't know what to do, really.
Well, when you think of all the precious metals we have in this earth, um, you've you've got to go through a process before it actually becomes something refined. And look at a diamond; it has to go, a piece of coal has to go through so much pressure for so long before it becomes something very precious. So if we look at it that way, maybe it's easier to cope with, but you still want to say, "Why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
My neighbor
Yeah.
just won the lotto and you put me in a car wreck," you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely I think that's one thing I know I can definitely empathize with people when we are going through hard times. It's really easy to compare to other people, and I know I looked at friends and like classmates and teammates, and I'd just be like, you're complaining about this little thing that's happened in your life, and like, are you not getting this? Like, look at all these things I'm trying to work through. And there was this big comparison mode, and I know it took me some time to get over that too, and realize like, okay, Kara, just because you're going through it uh, doesn't mean everyone will, doesn't mean they'll understand it, but you also don't need to hold. I think I had like a bit of resentment to other people for a while too, because I did feel like my life was so much harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, we don't always know what other people are going through.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's a perfect point, because more often than not, and the more I've like done this kind of work and even interacted with more people, the more we realize, yeah, there's always something going on below the surface, and nobody has a perfect life. We all have struggles and hardships. So um, you never know what someone's carrying.
Exactly. I mean, we just had a young man literally right down the street from our house who just the other day committed suicide.
Oh,
And,
wow.
here's the neighborhood filled with cops and fire trucks and ambulances, and you're like, oh my God, what in the world's going on now? It's everything's already crazy enough. And I told my wife, I don't know why it came across my mind, but I said, I hope somebody didn't decide to kill themselves. And
Hmm.
sure enough, it got around the neighborhood really quick.
Yeah.
So yeah, you never know.
Yeah. And that is really like something I truly hope for the world. And I feel like things like this, podcasts and social media in some ways um, can bring this connection for people, because these things need to be talked about, and we need to have the safe space to share about
Mm,
things that we're working through,
exactly.
and not carry everything on our own shoulders, because it's too heavy for all of us, right?
Exactly. Did you get to that point where you felt like you just needed to end it all?
For me, after losing my brother, there were moments for sure where I never got to a point where I thought of doing anything, but I had that idea in my mind of like, you know, if something just came and ended my life right now, I'd be happy. And like that
Mm.
kind of feeling, because I just really he was my best friend too, so like to just I just really wanted to be back with him. Um so I definitely had some of those moments for sure.
Mm. Well, you've taken something very negative and you've turned it into something positive. Now, what got you actually interested in doing what you did? I mean, other than the tragedies you went through, I mean, did somebody introduce this to you or something you read about? I mean, how did it come about? I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was always fascinated by kind of like the spiritual side of things too, and like looking for answers, and trying to figure out like why we're on this earth. Like
Mm.
what's the point of this? And I remember even when I was like 7 or 8, I asked my mom, like what is the point of this? And if we're all gonna die anyway, like why don't I, like why am I even here right now? Like there's no, I didn't understand it. Um and I was always also very interested in like psychology and mindset, and how the brain works. So I think it kind of was a slow progression for me working through each of these traumas, starting to look for something that could bring me some hope and some peace throughout all of it. And that really just started to open up doors of like, you know what, I really deeply connected to the fact that there had to be more than just this physical existence in life. And that helped me to kind of keep myself going, and like looking for ways to get through.
Okay, and part of your journey is taking you to holistic medicine, right? Is that what I read?
Yeah, so like I do not like holistic health coaching, but just looking at life coaching through a lens of like what kind of tools can we use to naturally heal these things. And um, basically it's a lot of releasing work, and some mindset work and subconscious reprogramming, like really getting into these things that we are carrying and holding and identifying with,
Right.
releasing them, letting them go, so that then you kind of have that opportunity to create this new blank slate for yourself where you're not feeling weighed down by all those things from the past.
Okay. And you also said you're into Reiki.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, you see, you have to explain this because I know a lot of people have heard it, but they don't know exactly what Reiki is.
Yeah, so Reiki is basically just a form of like energy work. And so um what you learn with that is, we're all energetic beings, and trauma especially can be stored in the body and kind of cause these blockages. So um for instance, like after sexual assault, for me, like the root chakra and the sacral chakra, which are the two lower ones, are related to like your sex center, and your sense of safety, your sense of security. For me, there was a lot of blockages there because of the experience, and Reiki was actually something that really helped me. And I would have thought it was absolutely crazy had I not tried it myself,
Right.
because it was just this really transformative experience where um yeah, like I finally saw, okay, this is something I was still carrying without being aware of it. So it's kind of like with acupuncture, we have our meridians going throughout the body, and you can have a trigger point, say in your shoulder, but it's with the meridian and goes down your leg, or however. It's similar with the energy body, and just helping to create the flow so your body can do what it would normally be doing, and your energy can be moving the way it would normally be moving had you not had the trauma, or not had the struggles or the belief systems and the things that are kind of limiting you.
Right. Well, a lot of people look at Reiki masters and holistic people as they're just another form of a snake charmer or what have you, you know. And I'll tell you a story. When my youngest son was born, he was deaf in one ear and partially deaf in the other ear, and he was allergic to everything,
Mm.
and he had asthma real bad. I used to have to sit under a tent with him and give him his breathing treatments, the whole 9 yards. And anyway, we were trying to learn sign language, and the church that we went to at that time, they didn't have a ministry for deaf people, so we decided, hey, let's go ahead and start one. And
Mm.
so we started visiting people. We went to this one house, and the gentleman we were visiting, his dad was a chiropractor. All right, now people can say what they want about chiropractors. I absolutely love them.
Mm.
And he said, well, let me just take a look at him real quick. And he put him up on the table, and he straightened out his back and his legs and everything else. Mind you, he's probably 2, 3 years old at this point. And
Wow. Yeah.
2 days later, his hearing came back, the asthma went away, and his allergies went away.
Oh my gosh.
And he's,
Wow.
he's on his way to becoming a nurse. He works at a cancer center now, and
Mm.
he can tell you he's been through it.
Yeah.
And lo and behold, so
Yeah.
don't just poo-poo this stuff away, people.
Yeah.
Some of this
Yeah.
stuff is for real.
Yeah. I like that's magical. I love that. And I think, yeah, I mean, the human body is so fascinating, and I think we are perfectly created. Everything is regulated to keep us alive and keep us functioning. And then, but sometimes there are things that show up, and um, I think it's so cool that the chiropractor was able to, through his like some adjustments or something, it just like helped with however it did. But
Well, I think it was Plato that said that your health starts in your spine.
mm,
And so there you go. That's proof
yeah,
positive right there. Now, I'm not
yeah,
saying everything's going to be cured if you go run to the chiropractor, but you might be surprised what can be. And same
mm,
thing with Reiki and stuff and acupuncture. I mean,
mm,
I've known people to give up smoking after doing acupuncture, and that's
yeah.
after 30 or 40 years of it.
Yeah, yeah, like it's amazing. I know I used to have a lot of chronic pain and injuries. I played university volleyball, and um my shoulders got to the point they were so bad that I struggled to lift my arms above my head to shampoo my hair. I was in so much pain, and I found this amazing acupuncturist, and I remember it was our second session, and he's like, I'm just gonna put these needles in your knee. And I was kind of like, well, no, it's my shoulder. Like, what are you doing?
All right.
And he's like, okay, I'm gonna put it in your knee, and I'm gonna get you to just like try to rotate your shoulder in forward circles while I kind of like adjust this little needle here. And I was so skeptical, but I'm not kidding you. At the end of that session, I walked out of there and both of my shoulders felt like I hadn't had shoulder issues. And like I
Wow.
was moving them properly, the pain was gone. I was just blown away.
That's crazy. Now, do you use crystals and stuff like that too?
Yeah, I'm a big crystal fan.
Okay, so let me ask you: are you bad at it as I am about putting them in the window when the full moon is out? Because I always forget to do it.
Yeah, I am that bad too.
And somebody
I
can
always
relate.
Yeah, I always think, okay, like you've got to get them out and like go charge them, and then like I almost always end up forgetting.
Yeah, I go to sleep and then I wake up and go, "Dadgummit, I was supposed to do that last
Yeah.
night."
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
All right, so this is what you do for a living? You help people?
Yeah, so I mean, I do mostly coaching, and then also Reiki and energy work is definitely a part of it. And I know meditation's been a big thing of my life, and I used to be super anxious and like overthinking all the time, and I still have my moments, but with meditation, I feel like I'm a lot more zen than I probably would have been in the
Right.
past.
You're not
Yeah.
a Libra, are you?
No, I'm a Taurus.
You're a Taurus? Okay, because I was going to say, you sound almost like me.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we're on the same level.
We're definitely on the same level. I was like, dang, she's got so many similarities as to what happened to me
Mhm.
through my life. I mean, I, thank
Yeah.
God I didn't have the car wreck, but, knock
Mhm.
on wood.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, if people want to get a hold of you to get these kind of services, how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so the best place would be my website, which is caramichelle.co. And
Okay.
so it's Kara with a K. And or on Instagram, it's real Kara Michelle. But yeah, I have some great free resources on my website as well, different bundles and challenges and training. So it's really the website's a great place to start if they're looking for some help with any of these things.
Okay, I'd like to kind of put that link in with
Mm.
when we post for the video and the audio, of
Yeah.
course. And so, what do you have Facebook? You said.
Yeah, Facebook and Instagram are both the same, and it's real Kara Michelle.
Okay, real
I'm the
Kara
real
Michelle.
deal.
You're the real deal,
Yeah.
and you're a hockey fan, so
Yeah.
we get along just fine.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well,
Yeah.
we're gonna end it at that note, and you know, when you have anything going on that you'd like to share, just get in touch with me because I would love to do that for you.
Yeah. Thank
Because
you so much and for having me. I really appreciate it.
oh, I appreciate you and thank you for sharing your story. I know some of it's not easy to talk about, but
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you.
But it's good. If it can help someone, then that's what it's here for, right?
That's exactly it. Thank
Mhm.
you. One
Yeah.
and thank y'all for joining us. And stay tuned. We have other guests that'll be coming soon. I know you'll enjoy. Take care.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Listen to the Vibes. You can catch us on Buzzsprout or wherever you listen to your favourite podcasts, and on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook at The Vibes Broadcast Network and on Instagram at The Vibes Broadcast.